Hi bakers, I'm Sally, and today I'm showing you how to properly cream butter and sugar. Creaming is a key step in many baking recipes, and if you've ever wondered why it's important or what would happen if you skipped it, this tutorial is for you. Let's start by going over why recipes call for creaming butter and sugar as a step before you add in the other wet ingredients. The process of creaming room temperature butter and sugar together is crucial for developing the structure and texture of a baked good. There are three main benefits creaming provides your batter or dough. First, beating on a high speed incorporates air into the mixture, which gives you a lighter, fluffier crumb. All those teeny tiny air pockets that are created during creaming then expand during baking. Without creaming, your baked good will end up dense. Second, the sugar crystals are more evenly dispersed throughout the batter, so you don't end up with a gritty feeling when you bite into your baked good. And third, creaming butter and sugar together creates structure and makes for a stable base to add the remaining ingredients. There's magic or science happening in there, building a network of fat, sugar, and air. Now let's talk about the hows of creaming butter and sugar together. The first important part is to use an electric mixer. You can use a stand mixer or a hand mixer. If you're using a stand mixer, make sure you use the paddle attachment. Next, you'll want to make sure your butter is proper room temperature. This does not mean that the butter is the exact same temperature as your kitchen. It should actually still feel cool to the touch. When butter is cool, it's capable of trapping air. If it gets too warm, it loses that ability and your creaming will all be for nothing. You'll want to aim for a butter temperature of about 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius. The butter will gradually warm up during the creaming process, so err on the cooler side. An instant read thermometer can take the guesswork out of this. Beat the butter and sugar on medium speed. You can start the mixer on low and gradually increase it as the sugar gets combined with the butter. It takes about 5 minutes on medium speed to reach that perfect pale yellow color and light and fluffy texture you are looking for. Sometimes I speed things up a little and beat on medium-high speed. Stop the mixer at least once during this creaming process to make sure that the butter is not all sticking to the sides of the bowl. And start the mixer again. I want to stop the mixer now because at this point, the mixture is under creamed and I want to show you what it looks like. I can still see some lumps of butter and it's not that light and fluffy texture that we're looking for. Let's let this mix for a little longer. This looks perfect. This butter and sugar is perfectly creamed. It's a pale yellow color. It's light and fluffy. The sugar has combined with the butter and there are no more chunks of butter in here. Now let's take this a step further just so I can show you what over-creamed butter and sugar looks like. This is over-creamed. I let the mixer run for too long and you can tell by the really pale color that it's over-creamed. The texture is now also too soft and greasy because the butter warmed up too much. I have here 3 batches of my vanilla cupcakes. This first batch was made with properly creamed butter and sugar and you can see that it looks exactly like it's supposed to. The crumb inside is light and fluffy, it's a little springy, and it tastes wonderful. Is perfect. For this next batch, I purposely under-creamed the butter and sugar. The resulting cupcakes didn't rise well, so they're dense and short. There were still chunks of butter that hadn't been beaten enough before the other ingredients were added, so they created these little pockets of steam that left holes in the surface of the cupcakes. The texture is spongy, almost like there's not enough structure to it. They're pretty bad. They taste a little grainy because the sugar didn't dissolve properly. And with this third batch, I over-creamed the butter and sugar. This can also lead to disaster. There was too much air, so they rose too much and then they sank in the centers as they cooled. Over-creaming can also cause the butter to get a little warm, so that would also account for a greasy texture. It's very dry. And it's also a little greasy. It's almost like a dry biscuit. Something's definitely wrong. Now that you know why creaming butter and sugar is key to light, fluffy bakes, you're one step closer to your cookies and cakes turning out perfectly on the first try. Happy baking. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you feel inspired to try a new baking recipe today. Head over to my website for the full written recipe and all of my success tips. You can also ask a question right there on the recipe page, and my team and I will be happy to answer.